Okay, this is a quick tour through my large open shade house. Down here on the right you'll see lots of seedlings from this fall growing in 4-inch pots. Some will be moved up to gallon pots later on this spring. Here's Rosaleo in bloom. The blooms are, our temperatures are in the 80s today, and the humidity is not that great, so the blooms are starting to droop a little bit already. This is a Sweetheart in bloom. A lot of the seedlings will be coming into bloom in the next few weeks, starting to bloom now. When you look through here, these are some of the oldest seedlings I have. Some are 3 or 4 years old even. There's some keepers in there. There's also a lot that need to be culled, so I haven't been staying on top of marking the common ones, or ones that I want to throw out or compost when they're blooming, and so it's hard to tell when you look at them now. So I'm trying to really stay on top of, when I see them bloom, tag them as a keeper or one that needs to be tossed when I do my cleaning. This one's suffering the effects of the heat today, but it's a seedling, believe it or not, in a gallon pot, and it has probably about 15 blooms on it. So it definitely has some promise when it's blooming as much as that one is already. Here's Samba Dancer. Already have some seed pods growing on it for next year. It needs to be trimmed back. It's pushing through the roof. Here you can just glance in here and see various seedlings in bloom. A lot of them just common whites and pinks that need to be culled. Some have potential, like this large white one here is one I've been watching. This is actually a little bit smaller than the blooms are usually larger than that on it, but it's one I'm trying to figure out what to do with. Again, these are new seedlings blooming here, some older ones. These are all seedlings from about a year and a half ago. Dorothea coming into bloom here. I've already pollinated the open blooms on it, so I'll be doing some more pollinating with her tonight on the blooms. Orange Sensation up here, it just finished blooming a few weeks ago and it already has blooms open again. It's one of my favorites of the newer releases. This one up here is one I'm very excited about. It's one I haven't released or officially named yet, but it has large yellow to orangish blooms that have 4 or 5 skirts and open up, and usually the blooms are held a little bit more the horizontal side instead of pendant or dropping. So you can see this is like a jungle. You have to work your way through here and climb through to get through from one end to the other. There's just so many plants. And you can see the blue tape are seed pods that are already forming for next year. A lot of the changes. This is native habitat double peach, just coming into bloom. And just a various assortment of shapes and sizes of blooms. Most of these are all seedlings down here, various seedlings on the left that are blooming. Summer Dream coming into bloom. It turns a little bit of an apricot color in the cooler weather now. This is a scraggly old pink perfection plant. Actually made a few crosses with it this year. The pods are starting to form now, but it's one I definitely need to trim back and get under control. Some more seedlings in here, blooming for the second or third time. That's lemon kisses in there, taking on more of an orange color in the cooler months, yellow in the summer. This is a flame bloom. It's already been sliced open and pollinated. Okay, here you have a little bit of everything. There's Painted Lady back in there, Miss Emily McKenzie, some Sweetheart blooms still. Cherub up there trying to push the ceiling out of the shade house. This is just an unnamed seedling. It just blooms so much I hate to get rid of it. It's been staying relatively small. It's less than 5 feet tall, or about 5 feet tall. The blooms are often a little bit larger, get a little bit of an apricot tinge, but I just haven't decided if it's worthy of keeping or registering, or if it's one I'm going to put out in my yard in the spring. But it definitely loves to bloom. And more seedlings. Rosalie here. Most of these blooms have already been pollinated, you can see by the blue tape. And that's Sweetheart up there, making a few extra crosses with Sweetheart this year because it is a nice cultivar. Here's Salmon Perfection. Some blooms. Rosalie down here getting ready to open. I'll have a bunch of blooms to pollinate tonight. This is a double white I've had for several years, and I've been wanting to register or name it, and I probably will this fall. It's cross between Panhandle Princess and Pink Smitty, but it keeps the separated skirts all the time. Blooms like crazy, very healthy, vigorous plant. So I definitely think it's worthy of registering. Here's Tootsie, some of the various shapes of blooms with Tootsie. You can see it has an assortment of shapes and sizes of blooms on the plant. So I keep making crosses with it. It's just different, and you never know what you're going to get out of it. Doing some fall cleaning here, getting ready to put down some cloth on this end. This is still the raw ground down here. Here's some of the older stock plants I had, and this spring all these will be coming out, going in the yard and trim back. I found out it's better to start with fresh plants every couple years than to keep stock plants for multiple years, because they just don't bloom as much, plus they get out of control. This orange parfait up here in bloom with the different shades of white to orange on there. Unknown pink back there. This is a nice yellow. This is a Rosalie times Inca Sun Cross. It hasn't been named yet, but it's extremely, you can see, a very nice looking plant. Very healthy. When it blooms, it just completely covers the plant. It's just coming into bloom now. A lot of them drop buds. We got down in the 30s a week ago, and so a lot of them, the plants dropped buds because they were just coming into bud at that time. This is Sweet Fantasy I'm walking under right now. You can see I have some seed pods already growing from some earlier crosses, but it's a beautiful one. It's again pushing the ceiling, so I gotta take care of it before we put the winter poly on in a few weeks, where it'll get a little bit too warm up there at the top. So, but I have a bunch of crosses pending with her right now, but it's a beautiful Beautiful double white. There's peaches and cream. This is just an unknown seedling. Occasionally the blooms are double. Right now they're more orange. That's sweet summertime, you can see right there at the very top, towards the top of the shade house, and also down here a little bit closer. That's Madame Bovary back there in the pink and bloom. In a couple weeks, this really should be, a lot of these are just starting to set buds again now, so it's going to be definitely a bloom fest in a few weeks. But right now, with the cooler weather, a lot of the cultivars are coming into bloom. This is, you can see the variegated foliage. This is Sunsport, which I really believe is the same thing as Axl Rose. Susie Underhill in here, great cross from Alice. You can see I've already pollinated open blooms. This is Gemini, one of the first Brugs I got, first double whites back 6-7 years ago. And it looks like we have Ruberosa here. A bunch of these blooms have already been pollinated. You can see the blue tape, so in a week or so we'll know whether the blooms are, the cross took and seed pods are forming. And on this end, see, we have, not sure what that one is. It looks like it's orange parfait. This is Cherub. And we can see Miss October coming into bloom. The blooms have been a little bit smaller than when I had the smaller plant, so I think it hasn't been repotted, so I think once it gets put in a new place this spring, the blooms will be a little bit bigger, but the blooms are just starting to open up on Miss October. Then in here we sort of have a combination of everything. I think a lot of these are Painted Lady without digging into the plant tags. Again, it's a total jungle in here. You just have to work your way through because things just get out of control. Orange Parfait, again, definitely there. This is in a double pink that hasn't been named yet. Anyway, that's just a quick tour of the inside of my main growing area. So as you can see, it's quite a jungle that's a little bit out of control right now.